You're watching a segment of The Splash, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show.
Thank you for being with us. We are joined by Ben Clarke, Sylvan Lake City Councilman and owner and founder of People Skate and Snowboard. And thank you, Ben, for being with us. And Sylvan Lake City Councilman, that's a new title for you.
Yes, yeah. I'm really excited to take it on. I was just sworn in Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to getting to work for Sylvan residents.
Okay, so you're pretty young.
Yeah. I'm 35 years old, so on November 29th of this month. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty young, but you know, I've lived in Sylvan 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've owned a business in Keiko Harbor for 8 years, so I mean, I have a lot of familiarity with the community and the city.
So why was it important for you to run?
Well, I think the most important reason is that young people have to get involved in politics. There needs to be a torch passed, and you know, there have to be people to grab that torch and take it up and try to better their community. You know, I think our generation has a passive way about it, where we're locked on our phones and into social media, and you get the impression that you're making big changes by sharing a story or something like that. But the reality is you need to get involved if you really want to make any change.
So stop tweeting about it.
Yes, stop tweeting about it.
Run for city council.
Sure, why not?
Okay, so you do own a shop.
Yes.
And it's in Keiko Harbor.
Yes.
So tell me the name of it.
It's People Skate and Snowboard. So it's a skateboard and snowboard shop, but we also sell apparel and shoes. And we've been around for 8 years. Like I said earlier, it really caters to the diehard community of skateboarders and snowboarders that we have in Southeast Michigan. So that changes seasonally.
Right.
You know, skateboarders do tend to buy boards throughout the winter too, but our store does kind of shift more towards snowboarding from about October to April. That's like the range of our season, and
hopefully, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Not,
well, I mean, you know, it
depends
on who you are. Some people don't want it to last till April either. But
so snowboarding, how big is that in Michigan?
You know, it's a big sport. You know, it's one of the biggest snow sports. There's not a lot to do in the winters that involve getting outside. So if you're going to live in Michigan, it's best to try to make the best of what you got and appreciate all 4 seasons. And part of that is winter. So you know, get out there and do something.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about the ages of people that snowboard.
Yeah. So, I mean, kids really can start getting into it as early as 3, but you can't expect a ton out of them at 3 years old on skis or snowboard. It's, you know, it's mainly bundling them up.
You can expect a lot out of me.
Yeah, well, that's fair. But it's about bundling them up and getting them out and, you know, getting them used to being in the cold. And there's a whole acclimation to being outside in the winter that little kids have to go through. Otherwise, they're just going to fight it all the time. So you have to season them, and somewhere around like 6 or 7 usually is when things really start to click for kids learning how to snowboard.
So do they need balance? What is the one
determination?
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone can learn. It's not so difficult. It's kind of like ice skating or anything. I mean, there's some things that are not so natural. I mean, it's not just like walking, but with enough effort and time, anyone can learn how to snowboard.
Okay, so what's the oldest snowboarder that you've met?
So I think probably in their 70s. You know, it's hard to say. I'm kind of guessing on that one.
Okay.
But there's definitely people with healthy gray hair who are out there riding snowboards. So it really has it's, you know, transition between a lot of age gaps at this point in the sport. It used to be like very much like a youthful, rebellious skateboarder taking to the snow, but those days have long gone. Now it's, you know, Olympics and corporate sponsorships and stuff like that. So things have changed.
Okay, so you brought up a good point. You said corporate sponsorship, snowboarding. Is it expensive?
Snowboarding is expensive, but it doesn't have to be. You know, that's the thing. Going to a hill, we have 4 within 45 minutes of us right here. That costs anywhere between like $30 and $55 for a day pass. But, you know, it's as simple as going to Marshbank Park with a snowboard and riding down the hill. That's how most of us who really are still passionate about snowboarding, that's how we got started. I mean, it was from hiking neighborhood hills. There's lots of hills in Southeast Michigan. It's a hilly terrain. You know, the most important thing is that you get out there and you just charge up the hill. And a lot of the times when you're a teenage boy, you're going to want to build a jump. That's a whole thing. But really, that's where most of the progress happens, or at least for many people, they would attest to that. So you know, I don't want it to be so inaccessible. People really believe that they need to spend a ton to get into snowboarding, and though there is some expense, you can really you can do it much cheaper if you're creative.
Okay, so if somebody were to come into your store and say, I only have this certain amount of money, but I really want to try snowboarding,
yeah,
you willing to work with them or try to figure it out?
No, you're absolutely right. Yes, absolutely. You know, when you're involved in the snowboard scene, you know all kinds of different people who have old equipment and things like that, and you know, we do try to work with people. We don't want cost to be the barrier of entry. I mean, it's not like we can, you know, do it for free or anything, but getting some decent equipment is really important. There was a lot of equipment made, especially in like the 90s and early 2000s, that was pretty awful, and it will be very, very difficult to learn on.
So awful as in not safe, or just not good?
To a degree, not safe, because the bindings can come apart. They're made of plastics and stuff, and just like any plastics, they weather with time, and they could become brittle. I don't think that would lead to any sort of life-threatening injury or anything, but you could be really bummed if you bought a lift ticket and all of a sudden your bindings don't work. So it's important to have decent equipment.
Okay, so you mentioned decent equipment. Do you guys, I mean, I know when babies are born, they do car seat checks. Do you guys do snowboard checks?
Sure, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, bring your board in. You know, you also tune a snowboard, so that involves sharpening the metal edges around them and waxing the base. So we do that. That's $29.95. We generally can turn it around to you the next day, about 24 hours to 48 hours this time of year. And in that, we will also look at the equipment, and if a snowboard's dropped off to us and we see that there's something wrong with it, we're definitely going to mention it and try to fix it. We are of the mindset that if we can inspire you to get into snowboarding, then we have a really good, you know, customer for life. So we try to empower people as much as we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So you do have an online store.
We do. It's peopleskateandsnowboard.com or peopleskateshop.com. Both work.
Okay.
Yeah, and we like to encourage people to look at that website and then, you know, kind of get an idea for what they're looking at, and then they can come in the store. All the inventory is in the store. So.
Okay. And then they can call ahead or
They can call ahead. They can, they can even select in-store pickup if they want to start purchasing.
Okay.
So yeah, we're very flexible. You know, we try to make it as easy to buy things from us as possible.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the City Council. And it's the holiday season, so I'm sure you'll be pretty busy.
Oh, we've been slammed.
Have you?
Yeah, it's really good.
All right, well, hopefully we'll see you on the Hill. Is that the right term?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
You
good.
did good.
All right. And we have been joined by Ben Clarke, Sylvan Lake City Councilman and owner and founder of People Skate and Snowboard.
Thanks for watching a segment of The Splash. To catch the entire show or other segments, watch us on Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T Channel 99. Or look us up online at thesplash.tv and listen to us on WBLD 89.3, the all-new Lakes FM.